All right, all right. Welcome to the masterclass. Today, I want to thank you for joining me today. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Well, I think I had a little rhyme there. Yeah. Welcome to the masterclass. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'd love for you to type in the chat if you can hear me okay. Um, let's see, can you hear me? I'm going to type it in the chat. That way you can type. Um, all right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you can hear me okay again. All right, so welcome to the master class. I want to thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to get organized, get heard, and get leads. I am here to help you in your endeavor. If you are a female coach, consultant, or service-based provider, and you're ready to turn your expertise into a lead generating podcast. And so today we're going to be talking about how do we go about that. All right. So if you are in that category, you are in the right place. All right. So, all right. So who am I? So my name is Aldreama Harper. I'm a podcast launch strategist and systems consultant, and I'm also the host of the OrganizedPreneur Podcast. You can find that podcast on Spotify or Apple or any of the major platforms. And so I primarily will help you to get organized, get heard, and get leads. And we're going to talk about what that looks like here very shortly. All right. Again, I want to welcome you. And let me go to the chat. I see there's a message there. Let's see. All right, Sarah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me today. All right. So here is the struggle. So 63% of entrepreneurs say generating leads is their number one challenge. Number one challenge. And I would say um, I definitely concur. um, and so, but type a one in the chat if that is your number one challenge. And so, a lot of people will use social media, and the struggle and the problem with social media is that it's more conducive for people who have a short attention span because all people do on social media is scroll. Okay, is scroll. It's so if you don't get people's attention in the first 3 to 5 seconds, they're gone to the next hit, right? Whatever that is, right? That reel or that video. When it comes to leveraging social media as your primary, way to get leads, because people are there and they have a very short attention span. The other problem with social media is that algorithms control the visibility. However, if you are leveraging social media and you're using that as your primary source of getting leads, then a lot of times people don't even see, your post or your videos on the bulk of social media platforms that are out there control the visibility. They suppress your visibility and they select who is going to see your stuff, especially if you're not paying. Okay, like if you're paying, with ads, then that's a different story. And the other problem is that with social media is that, like with reels and with shorts and with those your short form content like on YouTube and all of that, it disappears. And so, they may see it or they may not see, your reel or your short or your short form content. And so that really does inhibit your ability to get seen. Okay. Now, it does have its place, right? It does have its place, but you have to find and figure out which one works for you, right? So that is part of the struggle. So recently, one of my clients let me know that so she's in the process of getting her launching her podcast, right? But the thing that she told me, that she said, I am all over the place. And if you don't know anything about launching a podcast, there are a lot of moving parts. And so she said to me, she said, I really need to get organized before I even start any of this. And so that for me was like a signal that I need to focus a little bit more on helping you to get organized in your podcasting endeavors, even before you even launch. And so, again, because there are a lot of moving parts. And so, one of my signature frameworks for helping people in their organizing endeavors is my APACT system. And so, you can see on the screen here. Now, this one is for launching your podcast. I also have an APAC system for helping you to get organized in your business and in your office and things like that. But I've also incorporated this framework for people who are podcasters. And so here's the thing. So when it comes to getting organized, there is a 5-step framework that will definitely help you to get organized. We're going to take a deeper dive into this because I feel like this is so important before you get to the mic, before you get software, before you create your studio, before you do anything. This is foundational. Okay. And so the A is for assess and determining what your goals are. The P is for prioritize, because not everything matters equally. And again, we're going to dive into this. Um, the A, the next A stands for align. You want to tie your episodes directly to your offers and your business. The C is for create, where you develop repeatable workflows. And the T is for tracking. You can't measure if you're not tracking. So let's just dive a little bit deeper into that. So in the APAC framework, right, in getting organized, clarity starts with assessment. Clarity starts with assessment because you have to, and again, this applies to pretty much any organizing endeavor. Okay. But you won't be clear on anything until you assess where you are. Okay. It's very, very important. You have to assess where you are. You have to assess your capacity. You have to assess, what you have. Okay. Already in your arsenal. And so you have to do that type of assessment. Next, again, is prioritize. Like I said, we were diving a little bit deeper into that. Not all tasks, platforms, or content ideas deserve your energy. And so when my client uh, was telling me that she really needed to get organized, the thing about prioritizing in the P in APACT is that in determining the platforms that you're going to use, you need to figure out where your clients are. And because not all platforms are equal, and not all platforms um, really deserve your energy or your attention. I know a lot of people who launch their podcast or their businesses, and so they want to be on every platform. They want to be on Facebook, they want to be on Instagram, they want to be on LinkedIn, they want to be on YouTube. And all of those platforms require a certain amount of energy and attention, and so and tasks. And so you have to figure out and prioritize which platform deserves your attention. And so with another one of my clients, I told her, so she's doing an interview type of podcast. And so I said, look, just focus on one platform right now, because everybody else is telling her, okay, you need to be on Instagram, you need to be on, this platform and that platform. But I said, focus on two platforms. And so she's focused on YouTube and LinkedIn, which is where her potential clients are, and her potential, where she's going to get, um, she will get better results with her visibility if she focuses on those two platforms. Okay, so depending on the kind of uh, podcast that you're launching, then it will determine which platform you need to um, focus on. Okay, so again, not all tasks, platforms, or content ideas deserve your energy. Okay, then align. So your podcast should align with your business goals and offers. If they don't, then there's going to be a breach, what I call a breach of integrity. You're going to be, sharing your podcast and it's not even in alignment with your business goals, particularly if you're here and you have a business. And so you want to make sure that there's an alignment. Not only that, you want to make sure that it aligns with you personally, right? There's nothing like launching a podcast or launching a business or what have you, and you know that something is off, and you feel it every time you do an episode, right? So you want to make sure that it is in alignment. Then the C, um, systems will save you time and reduce the overwhelm. So you want to make sure that you create and develop repeatable workflows and systems that's going to save you time. And then lastly, the T again stands for measure what's working, because you can't improve what you do not measure. Okay. So put a yes in the comment section if that makes sense to you. Okay. And so I'm going to definitely allow for questions, Q&A at the end. But I just wanted to make sure that I have a clean recording, so I will be checking your comments um, in the comments section. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's move on. I've talked a little bit about the APACT system and framework. And the deal is this. So you're a lot of people, when I'm helping them to launch their podcast, they think maybe they need more hacks, or they need more of this, or they need more platforms, or they need more, you name it, right? You don't need more hacks. You don't need more of all of those other things, right? What you need when you launch your podcast is clarity and then being consistent. Okay. You need clarity in your podcast and you need consistency. I never forget when I launched my first podcast. I've launched 3 podcasts. And so the first one only has 12 to 14 episodes, including the trailer, right? That was back in 2013. And so um, the reason that I stopped was because I didn't have a clear vision for the podcast. I had the platform, I had some of the equipment, but I didn't have the clarity that I needed. So I stopped due to pod fade, which happens a lot in the podcasting space. And so you don't want to be just noisy, right? You want to stand out. And so you need to be clear and you need to have consistency and a plan. And we'll talk about that, later on in the training. And so understand that your expertise is your gold mine. Okay, your gold mine is your expertise. Okay, And so you don't need a whole lot of those other things that you may think you need. Okay, because what's going to happen is it's going to put you in a place of overwhelm. Now, let's talk a little bit about podcasting and why podcasting works. And this is something I've discovered over the years of podcasting. So, with my first podcast, like I said, I have, 12 to 14 episodes, which includes the trailer. I did a second podcast with a business partner where we have about 400 episodes. And so, excuse me, the reason that we have more episodes on that one was because we had consistency. We actually were able to have we the only reason that we stopped was because it was time for us to move on to individual endeavors. But that podcast has 400 episodes. We actually had were recording 5 days a week, and so we were very consistent and intentional with that podcast. Okay. And so my most recent endeavor, which is about 3 years old, which is the Organizedpreneur Podcast, that one is going now. It's ongoing right now. So it has, I want to say I have about 100 and I think it's almost 170 episodes because I only record once a week. So I have one episode that releases once a week. Okay, so here are some reasons why uh, podcast works. Number one, you have message clarity over time. And I'm telling you, so since I've launched my first podcast, over time, I begin to get clearer and clearer about my message. Who am I serving? What are my intentions? What are my goals and objectives as far as the podcast? Why am I doing it? Who am I talking to? All of those things over time, has become clearer and clearer to me. So over time, you get message clarity. Um, Deep attention. The thing about podcasting is once someone really loves your podcast and they're engaged, they will give you 20 to 30 minutes, not seconds, of time and listen to the podcast. And so that creates a deeper relationship with the listener. So attention is a currency, okay? So if they give you that attention, 20 to 30 minutes, which is opposite of, social media, then they're in. For the most part, they're in. Now there are other levels where once they subscribe, that's another level of commitment, in which we'll kind of get into here shortly. So message clarity, deep attention, and then evergreen content. That's the other thing about podcasting and why it works, because now you have a library that works for you 24/7 and it is out there in the podcasting universe. Okay. And so it is evergreen. Once you create it, it is out there unless you decide you don't, you want to delete it or what have you. But it is evergreen and it is working for you. Okay. So that's, that's about three reasons. There are other benefits. There are a lot of other benefits as to why podcasting works. So here are a few stats as it relates to podcasting. So 9 to 10 episodes per week are consumed by female podcasting or podcast fans, according to Edison Research. Okay. I myself, not only am I a podcaster, I am a podcast listener and watcher. Okay. I love podcasting. I love everything about podcasting. And so I listen to a lot of podcasts. So, um, I wouldn't say that it's 9 to 10 episodes, but it's very, very close. Okay. But that's the average. Okay. Then 77% of marketers say that podcasts are their most effective lead generation tool, right? So you can use your podcast as a tool and leverage your podcast as a tool to get leads. We'll get a little bit more into that shortly. And then 62% of buyers say that they purchase after long form content. So long form content or podcasts or videos, like for example on YouTube, people have a lot of leverage. People leverage those other platforms for or long term content for lead generation. And so 62% of buyers say that they purchase after that, right? Even a training like this class, this is long form content. And so there's different ways to leverage long form content, and there's different definitions as it relates to long form content. Podcasting is one of those long form content. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the framework that I just shared with you. Oops. Okay. So, all right. Let me know if you're still here in the comments. If you're still here, let me know by typing a one or yes, I'm here or something like that. Okay. That would be very, very helpful. Okay. All right. Um, so here is the signature framework, right? So it's called the launch, host, and grow method. Now, when the what I just shared with you was a framework, for getting organized, getting heard, and getting leads. I haven't gotten to the getting leads part yet, but I just shared with you a little bit about getting heard, which is step two. I just didn't say it, but that is the framework that I'm sharing with you right now, and it's a part of the launch, host, and grow method. And so I guess I put my slides in the wrong order, but I digress. So you get it, you get it. You're still with me. Awesome. Okay. And so getting heard is step two, which is launching a podcast. Okay, launching a podcast. So step one was getting organized, and I shared with you, the APACT framework. And so step two is hosting and launching a podcast. Now, there's other even if you don't want to host your own podcast, you can also get on other people's podcast, right? And so, but podcasting is really the way to go. And I always hear a lot of people say, it's so saturated. There's so many podcasts out there. And so, yeah, that's true. However, a lot of people drop off. A lot of people just drop off, and because of what I share with you, not being clear and not having direction and in terms of who they want to serve and things being in alignment and things like that. And so a lot of people just kind of drop off, right? So, all right. All right. So I wanted to dive in a little bit into the getting organized piece of it, and then I'll dive into the step two and the step three, and then we will move on. And I also want to share an opportunity with you. So just stay to the end. I do want to share an opportunity with you to um, go deeper into this process. And so I think you're going to really, really love it because it's a cool way and something I just launched. So, but let's talk a little bit before we get to that. Let's talk a little bit about getting organized and what that looks like in terms of your launch. You want to make sure that you clarify your niche. Now, I do have a 5-part framework for that. However, we don't have time to get into or take a deep dive into that right now. We can do it in a future episode. If you're following my podcast, then I do share on certain episodes what that 5-part framework is. But you want to make sure that you clarify your niche, you organize your systems, and you design your show format and workflow. So what that means is that your show framework you may be doing interview podcasts only, or you may be doing solo podcasts only, or you may be doing a mixture of them. And so the point I'm making is that all of these things you need to know before you even start recording. Okay, because you got to have your intentions and you got to have your objective already understood. And so that's a part of getting organized. Then hosting, you want to make sure that you plan your content strategically. You want to have a calendar, a content calendar. You want to have all of your, you want to have your trailer. You want to have your episodes planned out so that you're not getting caught in or things are not falling in the cracks, right? And so you want to make sure that you are planning it strategically. Like one of my clients, what she does is she leverages and thinks about themes for the month, right? Like if it's, maybe it's get organized month, like that for me is April. So I'll be talking way more about getting organized in April. So because that's the theme of the month, right? A lot of people, start thinking about that. So you plan your content accordingly. The other thing you want to make sure that you do in terms of getting heard, you want to repurpose into multiple platforms. Now, what do I mean by that? You can actually use one piece of content and be able to repurpose that one piece of content into clips, into articles, into emails, into posts, into blogs, right? All of those things you can start with one piece of content, one piece of content, right? And so I dive much, much deeper into that in the program that I'll share with you later in just a few moments. So just again, please stay with me on that. And then you want to collaborate and guest on other people's podcasts. I can't tell you how important that is because that gives you an opportunity to tap into their audience, especially if it's in alignment with yours. Okay. So I have a monthly networking event. And so I collaborate with those two ladies. Even though they do podcasting and they help others in their podcasting, there's no competition there because we each have a specialty in certain areas. One specializes in social media, the other one specializes in SEO. I specialize in launching and starting your podcast, right? And so, but you want to find strategic partners and collaborate, with others. This is not the time, to be in isolation. You want to find strategic partners when it comes to getting heard. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one. And then getting leads. So one of my clients, she's doing a fantastic job of of getting heard, but the part that right now we're working through is her call to action, because right now her only call to action is listening to my next episode. I invite you to listen to my next episode. And that's okay for a while, especially when you first start out, or maybe you haven't, maybe you're trying to get clear on what your call to action is, or maybe, whatever your lead generation um, strategy is. But this is how you get leads. You have to have a call to action, right? The next thing you want to do is connect those episodes to your email list. So you want to launch your email list so that you have a deeper connection with those that's following you. And that's how you eventually will convert listeners to clients. That's how I've gotten clients. I had someone that was actually on my email list for about a year before she decided. Now, that's not always the case for that amount of time, but it does work. It allows you the time, or it helps you to nurture the people that's following you, nurture those relationships. Okay. Now, and this could be you. this could be you. Okay. If you are a coach or consultant and you're struggling with getting leads, or you are not sure about your systems, you're not sure about how to launch, you're not sure, or you're not clear, okay, about your strategy, okay? And so this could be you, whether you're a coach or consultant and you're struggling with leads. um, you want to launch a podcast with a clear system and a clear strategy. You can, within 6 months or 10 episodes, get 10 to 15 new subscribers a week, 3 to 5 new clients with this strategy. Okay. Now, what's the strategy that I'm talking about is the launch, host, and grow method. Okay. The launch, host, and grow method. Now, this is not a guarantee. Okay. I cannot guarantee, but it's a numbers game. Okay. It's a numbers game. 6 months, 10 episodes, with everything, all things being, in alignment, and you are, your podcast, your business, all of that is in alignment and things are working, right? Because sometimes you have to tweak things, right? So that can be you. So podcasting is not just content. Podcasting is a business growth system. It's a business growth system. Clarity plus consistency equal clients. Okay, it's a system. And so I did say that, and again, I am going to allow time for questions. If you're thinking of a question and you want to type it in the chat right now, you can do that. But I also just wanted to share with you how, if you were looking to move forward, how you can get started. And so, I said I wanted to share the solution, but I want to share with you what that looks like. Okay. So the solution is the launch, host, and grow method. It creates a strategic foundation that leverages podcasting, virtual events, and email marketing to build visibility and engagement and um, conversions. Okay. And so you need those three components because people need to be able to know, like, and trust you. Okay, so this is for you if you're ready to launch a podcast, or if you're feeling stuck on how to turn leads into listeners and you're not sure how to organize the next steps, right? Or you need help in creating a streamlined plan or path that feels doable. Maybe you have a podcast already and you just need to connect that with your business. Wherever you are, I can help you to fill in that gap. And so the question is, would you rather have 10,000 passive listeners or 100 qualified leads who hear you speak directly to their pain and want your help? That is the shift. Okay. So this is the launch, host, and grow methodology that's used in the coaching circle. And I like to be upfront. So it's $47. There's no, you know, thing. I don't go through this whole little ritual like other people will say, well, it's worth $9.97, and for now, only it's $47 a month, and you can cancel anytime. Okay. And so you can build a podcast that brings leads, not likes, because likes don't pay the bills. Likes craft episodes that convert without sounding salesy. Hopefully I'm not sounding salesy because that is not my goal. Turning your content into a simple system that grows your list and authority and revenue. Okay. So I will put, so this is the link. I'm going to leave that in on the screen, but right now I'm going to, if you are looking at the screen, you can take your phone and scan the QR code, and then it will take you to where you can check out all of the details on how to um, get started. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the chat and see if there are any questions that you may have. I'm going to go and take a look at the chat. Hi, Alex. Um, Thank you for joining. And Sarah's here. Thank you for joining. So I want to see if you all have any questions, and I'm going to actually, if you're maybe you're looking from your phone or something like that, what I will do also is put that link in the chat. If you just give me 1 second here, I will grab that. So I'll while you all are, maybe you have some questions that you want to type into the chat. And while you're doing that, or if you want to go ahead and scan that QR code, you can do that as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat here. And there we go. All right. Okay, so Sarah, you don't have any questions. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining. Let's see. Okay, Alex said thank you for hosting this. You are so welcome. So you're new to the space. All right, awesome. Your goal is to connect a podcast with your business, and this has been very helpful. I am super excited. I am only in the brainstorming planning phase. Well, here's the thing. If that is where you are, we can jump on a call and we can do some brainstorming. Okay, that if that's what you are looking for, we can definitely do that. And Sarah says she doesn't have any questions right now. All right, so I did put the link in there. I believe you can actually just go and check out. You don't have, that's not a payment link. Okay. So that is just where you can go and check out what it looks like. Okay. So, and Alex, don't be afraid to connect with me just because it says I work primarily with females. Okay. So that is okay. I do and have had male clients. And so it will still work for you. So hopefully that doesn't scare you away. All right. So if that is it, we're going to end the session right now. I don't see any other questions. I hope to either see you on the other side or see you in the next training. I do have these type of trainings are twice a month on a Thursday. So if you're following me on Eventbrite, make sure that you sign up on Eventbrite so you get a notification when the next training is. The podcast as well. I will put the link also. Let me put that link in there so that if you are not following the podcast, let me go ahead and put that in there as well. I will drop a link to the podcast. So that link will take you to all of the other of platforms that I'm on. I'm on all major platforms. And so that link will take you there. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate your time, and I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much. Bye for now. You're welcome. You're welcome.